This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That is the website, www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Here for Morning Mindset. Let's read a little bit of Think and Grow Rich. Today we're reading page 70 to the top third of page 73. Then we will have a discussion. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. Chapter 4, Autosuggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind. The third step toward riches. Autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli which reach one's mind through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. Through the dominating thoughts which one permits to remain in the conscious mind, whether these thoughts be negative or positive is immaterial, the principle of autosuggestion voluntarily reaches the subconscious mind and influences it with these thoughts. No thought, whether it be negative or positive, can enter the subconscious mind without the aid of the principle of autosuggestion, with the exception of thoughts picked up from the ether. Stated differently, all sense impressions which are perceived through the five senses are stopped by the conscious thinking mind and may be either passed on to the subconscious mind or rejected at will. The conscious faculty serves, therefore, as an outer guard to the approach of the subconscious. Nature has so built man that he has absolute control over the material which reaches his subconscious mind through his five senses, although this is not meant to be construed as a statement that man always exercises this control. In the great majority of instances, he does not exercise it, which explains why so many people go through life in poverty. Recall what has been said about the subconscious mind resembling a fertile garden spot in which weeds will grow in abundance if the seeds of more desirable crops are not sown therein. Autosuggestion is the agency of control through which an individual may voluntarily feed his subconscious mind on thoughts of a creative nature, or by neglect permit thoughts of a destructive nature to find their way into this rich garden of the mind. You were instructed in the last of the 6 steps described in the chapter on desire to read aloud twice daily the written statement of your desire for money and to see and feel yourself already in possession of the money. By following these instructions, you communicate the object of your desire directly to your subconscious mind in a spirit of absolute faith. Through repetition of this procedure, you voluntarily create thought habits which are favorable to your efforts to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Go back to these 6 steps described in Chapter 2 and read them again very carefully before you proceed further. Then, when you come to it, read very carefully the 4 instructions for the organization of your Mastermind Group, described in the chapter on organized planning. By comparing these 2 sets of instructions with that which has been stated on autosuggestion, you, of course, will see that the instructions involve the application of the principle of autosuggestion. Remember, therefore, when reading aloud the statement of your desire, through which you are endeavoring to develop a money consciousness, that the mere reading of the words is of no consequence unless you mix emotion or feeling with your words. If you repeat a million times the famous Emile Coué formula, day by day in every way, I am getting better and better, without mixing emotion and faith with your words, you will experience no desirable results. Your subconscious mind recognizes and acts upon only thoughts which have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. This is a fact of such importance as to warrant repetition in practically every chapter, because the lack of understanding of this is the main reason the majority of people who try to apply the principle of autosuggestion get no desirable results. Plain, unemotional words do not influence the subconscious mind. You will get no appreciable results until you learn to reach your subconscious mind with thoughts or spoken words which have been well emotionalized with belief. Do not become discouraged if you cannot control and direct your emotions the first time you try to do so. Remember, there is no such possibility as something for nothing. Ability to reach and influence your subconscious mind has its price, and you must pay that price. You cannot cheat, even if you desire to do so. The price of ability to influence your subconscious mind is everlasting persistence in applying the principles described here. You cannot develop the desired ability for a lower price. You and you alone must decide whether or not the reward for which you are striving, the money consciousness, is worth the price you must pay for it in effort. I'm going to stop there. And that's because my voice is going to go. But it's an excellent place to stop. So anybody who does not have a copy of the book, there is a PDF. So how is that for a reading, huh? Auto-suggestion, persistence. What are you willing to pay to get that which you desire? There is a price to pay, right? Gursky. Welcome. Do you have a comment or something you'd like to begin a discussion with regarding what was just read?
Sorry, my English is very bad.
Very bad. Well, can you put it simply what your thoughts are and share with us?
I'm interested how many people attract to my business online.
Okay, so I didn't understand that. Say it again so I can tune in to your accent. Say that one more time.
Yes, I use traffic exchanges and many more online projects. And till now, very hard. Understand?
You may be better off typing it in the comment section, and then we can respond and have a discussion based on what you typed if it goes along with the reading. How's that?
I don't understand because very.
Okay, well, I'm glad to have you with us, Gursky. Participate in the discussion. And seats are open. Let's discuss what was read on page 70 and 73. It is about auto-suggestion. You know, what I found interesting is being a wordsmith. How ineffective words are when they are not attached to emotion. And one of the things that I always did when I was, and still do, when I write copy, when I write my thoughts, when I am writing a character sketch, when I'm, or a character anything, when I am writing, I review it and review it to see if I can evoke emotions. And it seems that when you evoke an emotion in me by what I've read, I'm inspired, I'm motivated, I am energized, right? So what I'm hearing from the reading is that if I do that which was instructed daily, which is read my major definite purpose, of which I've written down, and I attach emotion to it, then it will become real. So I guess one of my questions I'm going to throw out there for anybody who wants to comment or just, just begin the discussion is it okay to have a negative emotion attached to it, to be the pusher to make sure things happen? Does it have to be positive? Is it something? I say that because one of the reasons that I've been able to keep my business going in the beginning, in the first maybe 5 years or so, was because I was pushed with a negative of having to work for somebody else and in an environment. But there came a point where it had to change and I had to be pushed towards something. So now, as Monty's saying, you believe it has to be positive. And I'm tending to agree with you when it comes to going further, going the next step, really reaching what's been written as my major definite purpose and my goal when it comes to the money. That has to have, for me today, it has to have a positive emotion attached. The seat is open. If anybody would like to join in and combine their voice with mine in the discussion. Actually, no, Monty, I did not want to work for myself. I did not. It was absolutely terrifying. Yeah. Good morning, Deborah. Good to have you with us. I don't hear you, so if you'll fiddle a little bit with your microphone and your audio there. No, I was forced into it, and I'm very, very glad I was forced into it, Monty. Today, I'm thrilled I was forced into it. And so I rose to the challenge and did what needed to be done. But no, it wasn't a burning desire to be out on my own. Good morning, Deborah. Yes, I can hear you now.
I always have to plug in the jack and then unplug it. I don't know why, but that's how it works.
That's what it is. Let's just go with it. We can hear you now, and that's the important part. That is the important part. So good to have you with us.
Well, I'm giggling to myself because I've attempted to read this book 3 times, and this chapter is dog-eared. It's always where I've stopped. I'm giggling there. So I'm like, okay, yay, I'll finally get through this chapter. But, it's your question, can the affirmation be negative? Simply, no. The motivation can be negative, like not want to work for yourself, not wanting to. But, this book, other books that you read about changing your thinking and your mindset, always say, visualize it as if you're already there. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What do you?
Oh, no, Deborah's gone into warp. Unless it's me. See, it's hard to tell. When it's only 2 of you on here, it's hard to tell. Oh, okay. You went you went into warp, my dear. You went into warp.
So the motivation can be negative. You don't want to work for somebody else. You want to have your own business or whatever. You want to be thinner. You want to whatever.
So the motivation for me was I didn't have any other place to go. Had to do something. And once I started, it was, it's so much better, even as terrifying as it was. I do not want to go back there.
Right.
So that was the initial motivation.
Right.
So I could see that as motivation. That's an excellent way to put it. Go ahead.
I believe that at least for me, my affirmations, my thinking has to be very positive. And any book that you read, whether it be this, anything else on mindset, says always picture it, what it looks like, feels like, tastes like, what are you doing when you get to the end result. So if you allow your affirmation or your thought to be negative, you're not going to do the work to get there.
That's true.
So I think your affirmations, your thoughts, Napoleon Hill says it. You read any Brian Tracy, he says it. I mean, I could list all the mindset people out there. I mean, they're always saying, keep it positive, visualize in the positive. Because if you're visualizing in the negative, I don't want to make the phone call. I don't want to go. That's going to be a horrible appointment. Well, yeah, it's going to be a horrible appointment. Kind of what you think about, you bring about.
Right. Right. And that's what, of course, this whole book is about. But the actual practice of, good morning, Don. Good to have you with
again.
Hey, Deb.
Oh no, are you following each other? Well, guess
We
what?
talk
It's a
every
whole
day.
new programming. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. There's the connection there.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
You know, what he says about the emotion, we have to be careful, I believe, because a negative thought, a negative affirmation with emotion, right, contributes to our mindset as well. So it can happen on the negative side. And I think, Charlene, going to your point, what you've shared with us over the time we've spent together is that time of I don't want, I can't, that's not for me, with massive emotion keeps showing up over and over and over again in our life, right? Until we change that mental attitude, that incantation. What we're talking about is incantation versus affirmation, right? When it's really in your soul, in your spirit, with so much emotion, whether positive or negative, it shows up time and time again. And that was a big aha. The first, I don't know, like you, Deb, 5 times I read this before I got through the whole thing. It was very, very apparent to me that the way I was thinking was manifesting itself through my whole life, positive and negative. So I believe it does work on the negative side, and that's up to us to be careful with what we're putting up here with massive, massive emotion.
I have to agree. Because what has finally clicked with me was the exercise that was recommended by a coach that I do, which I did, the mental exercise, and then put into action just the first 3 chapters have flipped the way that I have attached, the kind of emotion that I've attached. It has become a deeper desire that has a much more positive connotation. I'm recognizing I'm no longer running away from things. I am running toward things. And that to me is a really big deal, because one of the reasons that my big, whoops, I'm getting feedback there. As in, I hear myself, and it's all well and good. You guys can hear me, but I don't want to hear me. So, nope, still there. Well, now I'm gone. So the idea is that since it has brought about more clarity, and it has recently, where I've seen that it has once again, it being putting that I know what I want to do, and I know how I want to get there, and I'm willing to do what needs to get there. In this case with my business, in other cases it's worked the same way. Now to the point when things are presented to me, I know where to say yes and no. Yes. So I'm not deviated from the path. I'm not derailed. There is no shiny object. It does not enhance what I'm doing. It does not add to, therefore, and it's becoming more and more clear as I've been doing the morning mindset program, where I should be heading and how I should do it. And I was presented with an opportunity yesterday, and I said, no, thank you. Whereas I might have done it a month or 2 ago. I might have done it because it was interesting and it looked like it could have possibly fed into what I'm doing with the business. But I recognized, quite honestly, that it wouldn't. So is that what you were talking about?
So, Charlene, you're able to say no easier because you're so clear on your definite purpose. That's outstanding. Good for you. So
what about this auto-suggestion thing? We have to have some emotion attached to it. It has to be. I mean, as I said in the beginning, I'm a wordsmith. But if the words don't mean anything unless they evoke some type of emotion. So what Napoleon Hill is saying, we have to attach that emotion to have that belief, to have the faith. I know people talk about the big why. I know people talk about all that, and I can go with that. But again, I just told you one of my whys in the beginning was running away from something rather than towards something.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can, Eric. Welcome.
Yeah.
I actually have a very personal experience with this. When I was 16 years old, my parents bought me for my birthday this book. And I thought, what is this? Like, had no idea. I kind of skimmed through it, and I was bored. We didn't have the internet then, so a lot of what I did was read books. I did read the book. When I went into the Navy, we went to war. We were deployed into war, and I actually had this book with me. And this was one of the things. The negative does not work. Like, I didn't want to be there. I no longer wanted somebody else to make decisions from what I did with my life as to whether I was going to live or die. So I knew that. But that's not the affirmation that I needed. I needed a path to, and I had 4 years to do. I knew I was going to stay in for 4 years. What was I going to do when I get out? And that was the affirmation. Although I was motivated by something negative, the affirmation was, what were the steps I needed to do in order to be able to get out and transition out of the military? And so that worked for me. I mean, I don't know if that specifically did it, but I put into place. I started buying real estate. I did one of those, buy real estate with no money down kind of courses in order to, because that was the only thing I could do. We were in port maybe 2-3 months out of a year, and so what was I doing? I was out finding real estate properties to buy in order to get myself, set from when my 4 years was up. And so that's
So
definitely.
you had the end goal in mind, though.
Yes.
You had an end goal.
Right.
And I'm going to just affirm that really is needed. I have to have a vision of where I want to go, because where I got lost was I didn't have the vision of where I wanted to go. I only knew what I didn't want to be. So thank you for confirming. Thank you for confirming that I'm on the right track, that what he's saying here is that it is about where we want to be. When it comes to money, how much do we want? Be clear about it. When it comes to making a change in the life, as a principle to apply, what do we want, and be clear about it. So we're working towards something instead of running away from something.
Exactly. At first, I didn't understand that. I said, well, I just don't want to be here. And so I would think about it every day and say, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. Okay, well, that's not enough, because that's not going to do anything to get you out of that situation. It's just, it's depressing, frankly. You're not doing anything about it yet, because you haven't looked out as to what it is that you need to do in order to change your situation. So once you've done that, now you have something positive that you can focus on. So you may still have those negatives, but now you have something that you can repeat to yourself and say, hey, this, if I keep doing this, and if I acquire I don't remember the amount of money at that time, it probably wasn't very much. This is what I can do from that. And so I did that plus some. By the time I got out of the military, I had 20 houses, and people were like, yeah, see you, thanks. It was a great experience. Now I miss it, but at the time, it did what I needed it to do, which was allow me to move to New York.
Awesome.
It is. From a motivation point of view too, it's said that we're all either going towards something or moving away from something, right? That's not necessarily a negative. It's just our reflex, right? What's more important to us, getting away from the pain or going towards the pleasure? That's not necessarily the negative or positive dominating thoughts. That's just the thing that's fueling that. And Eric, for you, it sounds like getting the hell out of there was a very big motivator, not to mention coming home to the riches that you were building at the same time. That's outstanding. Good job. It's a great testament to this book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't read it since then, really. Honestly, after I got out of the Navy, I haven't even touched the book. And now that she started reading it again, I started thinking about some of the chapters again. I actually dug out the book, and my son just turned 16 last Friday. I gave him the book. I said, look, I had a reading for my parents when I was 16 and said, happy birthday on your 16th birthday. Again, he looked at me like I was crazy, but he's way further ahead than I am as far as, I guess I've already instilled some of that in him, where he wants, he's running his own business. He's already thinking about things like, hey, what happens? I don't know if I even want to go to college. I'm like, well, I kind of want you to go to college, but you know what? It's for you to decide. And if you make that decision for good reasons, I'll support that. But he's got a better mindset than I did at that age. And hopefully Eric, this inspires him.
You just inspired me to go to my daughter's 19 today. And she will have this copy by the end of the day of this book. Good call, man.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize what an impact it had at the time, and I don't even think I realized it as I was doing it at that time. I was sitting on the main deck and by myself and thinking and reading this book, and I don't really ever think I attributed anything to the book itself, because there were other books, Stephen Covey, there were other books that I was reading, but I do think that this is the one that really changed my mindset, and I think that's what has to change, is your mindset. and I didn't. That's what this book did.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Charles Givens was another book that changed, but that was more directly in about money itself and how, you know, you're working for money or money's working for you. And I also needed that mindset change. So I think between the two of them, absolutely. Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when I was 22, I read this book and Price Pritchett, The Quantum Leap Strategy, and U Squared, and changed my thinking forever. We're blessed because most of us find this stuff way later in life. So, yeah, good job.
Absolutely.
Good job.
So a question I have is, now let's get to the nitty gritty of things, right? Because that's what Napoleon Hill does. He flat out says, how much money do you want? Literally, how much money do you want? You don't have to answer me, but that's what he's asking. Right. Because he's saying in this section, again, this whole book is about following those who have gained wealth. Now, what I want to do with my wealth is different than what you want to do with your wealth. I'm on the path to getting the wealth so that I can do the things that I want to do, right? So what I find interesting is that many, many times when people refer to this book, and what we're starting to do now is we're talking the principle, we're talking the emotion, we're talking about making mental changes. We need to talk about money, you know, and is it because, but yes, Julian, you agree the money is the result, but we have to have a definite dollar amount in mind. Because, and all right, so those who don't know me, and half of you do, so I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat this. I'm literal. All right, I'm just going to say that. If you don't tell me that there is $100 over here, and that's what I will get if I do these things, then I don't believe you that the money will follow. Because it's like, well, how much? Where's it going to be? How am I going to see it? Oh, I should be happy with the $12 an hour because I'm doing what I want to do, right? But I can't do what I really want to do because $12 an hour isn't going to do it. See how my thinking goes?
Yep.
So that's why I love this book. It's teaching me, you know, and I've done this before in other things, but this book in particular is about the money. So I would like to hear if anybody has put the dollar amount. Don't want to hear what the dollar amount is. I have in my major definite purpose. There is a dollar amount that will be in my hands by a particular date. And that is and what it's done for me is to help me determine if that which I have been presented, opportunities, business opportunities to make money, does that align with the path I'm already set on to hit that amount of money? Because what I've learned is that when I don't say no, when I say yes to those things, doesn't matter what my money goal is, because I get distracted and I get derailed and I'm off focus and I'm not doing that which is going to get me where I know I want to go. Part of it is the money. Right now, it's the money because that's what we read, right? So I'd love to hear some thoughts just about that. Clearly defining so that, he said, read it daily, write it, which is something I've just started doing again, you know, because I wasn't doing that part. The auto-suggestion, read it aloud. What's the desire for money? What's the dollar amount? Can you see it? Can you feel it? Are you to that point? And attaching that positive emotion to it. Okay.
Well, I can say at the time, I know what the amount was. It was $2,000 a month because that's what I wasn't even making that in the Navy. And I figured, hey, if I can make that, you know, okay. And I had to pay for my food and I had to pay for the things I didn't have to pay for, that would change my life and I'd be able to live as a civilian. You know, at that time, I'm so young. I'd never lived on my own. I didn't really know what it took, but I knew that number, I could make that work. And what that did was allowed me to move to New York City. So when I got out of the military, I immediately moved to New York. And that's where I wanted to be, and I knew that amount of money. Well, okay, I thought that amount of money would be enough to move me there. it got me a little dumpy place way out in Queens, and that's fine because it got me to the location I needed to be. And then of course I had to reevaluate what kind of money I actually needed to live there. But eventually I made it into Manhattan, and so.
$2,000 a month in Manhattan, really?
No. Well, and I was making more. Honestly, I had 20 houses when I got out of the Navy, so I was making more than that. But even that, I sold most of those houses right away, and then I moved to Manhattan. And yeah,
but you had a definite dollar amount
Yeah.
that needed to be reached on a regular basis.
Right.
So that was the goal that you set out. This is the dollar amount that I need to reach. Then once I get there, I need to reach it on a regular basis.
Yep.
Dollar amount changes, so that became the new goal, correct?
Sort of. I didn't think about it anymore. At that point,
Okay.
I was on the treadmill, and I was part of the machine, and I was a programmer, so we were making a lot of money, and we were kind of like, wow, I can't believe they pay us to do this. This is awesome. And then they just keep giving you more money, and we're like, that's great. And we
It's
can
my
focus
one
on-
regret. My one regret back in the 80s, computer science was being pushed at me, and it was like the only reason I didn't do it was because I knew I'd get so involved in it I would be forever jailhouse white, and I probably wouldn't have a relationship.
That's certainly the way
How
I was.
literal.
That's I lived, eat, and breathed it for many years. And,
I'm not regretting it too much, but
no, I mean, I honestly, I wish I could be more coding today. It's now I run a business, and if I get a chance to code, it's in secret, because if they find out I'm doing that and not other things, I get yelled at. So.
Right. Well, see, and there it is, Eric. See, I'm a business owner. I own a business, and I have to work on the business. I can't be in it all the time. So this is the time set aside for us to think about working on the business, getting our mindset to a point and having that vision so that business and success within the business, including the money, can happen. Without it, the business dies. It has to be fed with something, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yep,
right.
very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ever since, gosh, I was in real estate 21 years now. And I was 20 when I began, and writing the goals, including the dollar amount. And I remember I was dating my wife, but not married yet. $50,000 a year in Southern California, that was going to do it for us.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I remember when my daughter was born, my wife talked me into trading in my truck as a single man for a minivan. Guys out there, don't fall for that one, first of all. All right. So like 2 weeks after owning a minivan, we both came to the conclusion that was the biggest mistake. So
Got the truck.
we got a picture of a Suburban, and we would prospect on the phone every day, 25 conversations a day. There was no internet to generate leads back then. So I remember posting this picture up in front of my prospecting place and just dialing. And my subconscious, was working on dialing the phone and this truck. And then I had some major emotion behind never wanting to drive a green minivan again in my life.
There's that negative.
Yeah, right. No, I will move away from
That was
crap.
the motivation.
You bet. and
the inspiration was in front of you. I love
and man, within 9-10 months, we traded the minivan in, didn't buy a Suburban, bought the Suburban in the picture, and went on with life. And we did that with finances also. And it works like clockwork as long as you keep your mind on the goal or on your major definite purpose. And then, like we keep talking about, Charlene, work your face off, right? We can't just zen out and wait for it to show up.
That's right.
But there's not one without the other. It's the combination that's the grand prize.
Outstanding, Don.
Yes.
Yeah.
No
I
more
agree. I think I needed
minivans.
both. I think
What
you're
was
right.
that?
I think that the motivation. No, you're right. I think you need both. Right. He had the motivation. He didn't want to be somewhere, but then he found his way out, and that also motivated him. But you need that positive. The negative is just maybe puts you in the situation where you're reading the book again, and that was it for me. It was collecting dust.
Right.
But what am I going to do? Like I'm in a field. I'm in combat. So this is how do I apply this to the civilian world? I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I know that this isn't what I want to do for 20 years. That's it. So how do I get out of that? And so you're right. So this book really pushes those. Okay, what's the positive thing? What is it that I can do to change my situation? And money. Frankly, it was all about money. The only way to get out was to have money. I had a family to support, so I couldn't just go out and wing it. And that motivated me. When I had 2 months in a port back home, I was out finding real estate. I was out finding, learning about real estate. I didn't know anything about it at the time, and drove. Well, I got divorced, so obviously it didn't work out so well in some ways. But
yeah, but that's life. See, those are life things that happen.
Absolutely.
And welcome, Sean. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Charlene, Eric, and Don, and everybody else.
It's. I don't know. I just have this feeling God looks down every now and again and said, "Oh, you made a plan." So
true.
Yeah, let's throw a little life your way. See what happens.
It's getting too easy. Let's make it.
Yeah. Well, I've ignored you for a while. Sorry, dear. Anyway. No, that is not my view of God, but it does seem that way sometimes. But if we have now, see, and that's what the book is telling me, is that if I have my major definite purpose, and trust me, I have the luxury Super C RV picked out, sitting on a Freightliner chassis. All right. It's going to be custom made for the two of us. We've got the garage in the back for the smart car to drive right in. It'll fit without a problem. I know where the tools are going to go for him, the tools for me. I know where it's there. I get in my imagination. I can walk through that baby. So I've got that, and I've got the dollar amount that I need to have in hand for me to say yes, we can move forward with this. And I'm going to share the book with simply Tina, who's not reading the title. It says Think and Grow Rich is the book. Thank you, Eric. So I've got all that, but I had some missing pieces. See, I've had that since 03 or 04 and never really felt like I was on the direct path to getting there. And the missing pieces are very much what we're talking about now, which is really resonating and putting in place. But I also think, I'm just going to throw this out here, just because, I also think it's because I'm ready for it.
Yes.
So, I could sit and sit quietly and look back and determine why I wasn't ready or what I was doing so that it would prove that I wasn't ready. But I wonder if possibly that because I'm really ready now, I've invited everybody to join me on the journey this time. I'm going to throw it out there for discuss what you will. That was what was coming to my mind. So I just threw it out there.
I think after you do this for a while, it becomes a habit, and you don't even think that you're doing it anymore, and it just becomes part of what you're doing. Because, like I said, after I got in the software development field, I was at a company for a long time, and it was very easy. It was fun. I was having a great time. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about any of the other things because I was doing what it is that I wanted to do. But after a while, it kind of got boring, and I thought, hey, let's go back to the basic. What is it that I need to do to live well in Manhattan, which obviously was a much higher number than getting there, and that required going elsewhere. And eventually, it led to me, forming my own software development company and going out on my own hedge funds. And I don't think I attributed that to this book again, but this book was always ingrained in the back of my mind because I had followed it, 20 years before that, those principles, and there's been many books after that, and certainly there's a lot of people out today that put out information, but it's built off of this stuff. This is the frontier of what it is that created all these other ideas, so to speak. They're not new ideas always, but built off of these guys.
So you're saying that you had the foundation laid of the principles when you were young,
right?
And that those who came out after Napoleon Hill may have worded it differently, but were actually cementing the foundation that you had already had in place.
Yeah.
So it was just adding to what you already had in place so that you didn't have to give a lot of conscious thought and conscious effort in terms of, am I living these principles? Am I doing these things?
Right. Like the visualization, I would do it all the time. I would think about what does it mean to get this? And I would think about what it meant. But I didn't say, I wasn't reading this book and going, oh, this is, I'm doing these practices. It just became a part of who I am. I still do it today. And that's why I'm going to reread the book and really see
That's my goal.
Yeah, I'm going to reread it again and say, because as you're reading this out loud, I was making comments like, holy crap, I remember this. This is this. And it's having emotional, it did have an impact. It had a bigger impact, I guess, than I realized.
It's going to be interesting when it becomes such a part of me. It's going to be interesting for me to eventually track every one of you down and say thank you. That, it really is a part of me.
Well,
today it's a conscious effort. Yes. Well, I'll do that too. I have no problem with that. But today it's a conscious effort. It's a conscious decision that I made that I wanted to change the direction of my thinking, change the direction of the business. See, they're coinciding. I wouldn't be able to change the direction of my business if I didn't change the direction of my thinking. And that's why this is so important to me. And I'm doing that which needs to be done. It's just not, some things are regular, some things are upon awakening. I say thank you. It just comes out.
And you're putting it out there for us to hold your feet to the fire now.
Exactly.
That's right.
And I have somebody else holding my feet. I've got a coach who's holding my feet to the fire. He's all raring to go now. We just had a meeting yesterday, and I said I'm a little frightened by his enthusiasm. So I don't know if I need that much work. He says, "Oh no, I'm going to help." Oh crap! All right, kidding.
Well, think about the collective mastermind. We haven't even got there in this book yet, right? With the conversation. But the collective mastermind you're putting together here, Charlene.
Yes.
I mean, your goals are all but achieved here now. You have the group forming, and I know you have a few different masterminds.
Yeah, I do.
This is really, really a phenomenal way for everybody to start, Eric, like you and I are talking about in our early years, 100 years ago now, right? Hopefully this inspires a few, Charlene, to do the same thing and put it in writing and commit to it on a regular basis. And with the reminding of the book day in and day out, those slaps on the face. I haven't thought about that green minivan, thank God, in a long time.
I think we're all thankful for that.
It still motivates you.
Green minivan.
You may not consciously think about it.
It was one of the first ones.
You.
It was one of the first ones that looked like the Lost in Space transporter, didn't it?
Yeah. It's exactly what it looked like. It was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. All right, guys, I'm going to jump out. I'm going to let Sabrina jump in here. I may hover a little bit and get back. Have a great day, Sean.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Yeah, I'm definitely.
Have a great day, Don.
All right.
And, I'm actually going to go back to the beginning of the book and catch up. And thanks a lot.
Okay. Okay, Eric. Sabrina's going to go nuts now. This is her first time. Watch out, world. Any minute now, she's going to come on and she will explode with this. See, told you. She would explode with energy.
I hope you guys can hear me. You don't know what I had to go through to get here this morning,
Well, I mean, Don's still in the dark.
You had a major definite purpose to get on Blab, and you did it.
I did. This is kind of crazy stuff, you guys. I'm really loving what you got going on here, Charlene. Hi, good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Charlene.
Thank you. I'm glad you could join us, Sabrina.
Good morning. How are we?
Good morning, Julian. I feel like I'm on The View here, but I'm going to shut up now and kind of pay attention to what's going on.
Well, I was going to sit in the background, and then when Sabrina came on with so much excitement and enthusiasm and passion, I thought, I'm in.
Passion is the way, Julian.
Hit that join button. I'm in.
Awesome.
So what do you think of the discussion so far, Julian?
I think it's been great. I think, it's interesting for me because I'm sort of in the same vein, but from a different angle. My sort of mentor, if you like, somebody who I've always looked up to is Simon Sinek. I don't know whether you're Simon Sinek, and his book Start Everything with Why. So I'm on a slightly different angle. So I think the results we get there the same way, but it's a different way of thinking and moving it. And one thing that I like to do is listen and learn. So I'm all about trying to see how you guys are getting on with it and where you're going and how you're shaping and taking it. It's just it is a really, really interesting debate, and I think it's one that has a lot of merit.
So let's take the word debate out. because I think it's a discussion and it's a sharing of our own experience with it. How's that? Because I don't want anybody to think that just because I'm doing it exactly like the book says, because that's what works, that they should do it that way, you know, unless they want it to work, right?
Yeah.
You know.
No, there is that.
There is that, you know. The thing for me is that, and I'm hearing myself from somebody and everybody's on earbuds. Okay, now I'm not hearing myself. Thank you. The definiteness of what Napoleon Hill is putting down, literally the steps. You do this according to the way he's writing it down. That's my thinking, because he's talked with up to 500 successful business owners, those who started empires, those who started successful businesses and still have them. He spoke with them. How did you do that? What is it that needs to happen? What is different about you than about these others that want that but aren't getting it? And that's how I'm viewing the book. I am one of those that I want that and I'm not getting it. So I want to do what they're doing, and what the value I get out of this discussion and the sharing and kind of debating what really works and what doesn't, Julian, yes, is that if we're all on the same path, just in different sections of the path, as Sean puts it, some are behind and pushing us along, some are ahead and kind of pulling us along, but we're all of the like mind. Yeah. We want the success. We want more money so that we can do other things. That's what I'm loving about what's happening here. And again, thank you. You know, you're helping me along. That was the whole point, right, Sean?
Yep. This is really, I know I've been along with Charlene the whole ride, and I know early on she wasn't even sure anybody would show up, and it's just been growing. And you know, it was interesting to jump in this morning and there wasn't a seat clear. You know, the seats were all taken.
I know. I thought I was going to get to show up and like say hello.
Had to wait your turn, didn't you, dear?
I know, and I'm not accustomed to waiting my turn.
And that's why I was warning everybody.
I
knew you were
the discussion has been huge, and I think we've all learned a lot along the way. And we've gotten a chance to share our story and get some encouragement. So it's just been, it's a little informal mastermind, because it's actually, you know, I'm preparing to launch a mastermind as well. And Charlene knows because we talked, and I've got people in my circles that are showing interest. And I was actually reading a little download I got, and that was one of the ways he actually said you can do your goal and strategy mastermind. You can do a guest speaker type of mastermind where you bring in an
there's
expert.
Different types.
You can have a teaching type mastermind, which the leader can actually do the teaching, or you can rotate it around the group. But one of them was, he actually said, if you've never done a mastermind and you want to just kind of dip your feet in, do a book club mastermind.
Good idea, and I think I've got an idea for a book club mastermind.
Well, Sean, I know you're going to be doing your own on Blab, right?
Another book club, yes.
Okay, and I'm doing.
And I'm going to do it a little later.
I've got formal mastermind groups, goal setting and accountability. One that is going to start in October that has empty seats, by the way. And then there is another formal mastermind group that I moderate, and that is literally grow your business. And it's bringing like-minded people together from different backgrounds based on this book, because Ford had it, you know, Edison had it. The others, they gathered and they helped each other solve problems and get resources, find resources, and
connections.
Whatever needed to happen to get you moving forward and get your business moving forward. So this in particular is all about getting my mind in the right place.
At Doc _
getting
business.
it there and keeping it there.
Well, that's
and
it.
keeping it there.
Yes, because I don't like getting derailed, and I was, because left to my own devices, it was easier to be derailed. Now, you guys are serving the purpose of keeping me grounded, keeping me focused, keeping me targeted, So, interesting comments to the side here. I will shortly, I'll be shutting this down in terms of the recording, and then I'll be happy to share links to the mastermind that I have a few seats left that's going to be starting in October. And then another one that as soon as I can get the group together, we'll start it and it's a month to month. And we'll start it when I only want 6 of them.
So Charlene, I'm new to this, you guys, so you'll forgive me for asking maybe a very basic question, but have we had some actual stories of folks that have utilized the book?
Oh, yes.
And made some great things happen? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I was just curious.
That's why I'm so glad they're participating, because those are the ones. Sean put it a while back. He says, we've got people behind us that are pushing and people in front of us that are pulling. And the ones that are pulling me are the ones that are willing to share that, just like Eric said. I read the book and then I started doing things. And then I had these experiences where I had the definite purpose. I was able to visualize, this is what I'm going to do. Don sitting here saying, I had the picture in front of me, wherever my wife and I, to get the truck back, whatever it may be. So you got it, Monty. I'll shoot you an email. And so anyway, yes, and that's why I'm so thrilled people are joining us. But it's all based on the reading, and the reading kicks us off into this discussion. I agree that this in Blab is a book mastermind. The masterminds that are formal, the ones that I run, we go deeper. And they're not needed for the public viewing. They're not good for public viewing. You're going to be stymied if you think that other people are going to hear what you're saying. So.
Right. Well, and then, like you said, they go deeper into the processes and the goals, and a relationship builds among the members. And I've read that many mastermind members, years and years later, they're still friends with the people they masterminded with, and they still stay connected and all that. So
that can happen. It
changes, like you said, it has to be private to change the dynamic.
It does.
The public space is very different.
Absolutely. That's why
even if we think we're basically open and honest, we tend to be a bit guarded in a public forum. A bit.
I'm just going to tell you now, I'm not going to show you my checkbook. I'll do that in a mastermind group.
It's okay, I don't need to see your checkbook.
But in a mastermind group, after some time has passed, there comes a time when it gets real and somebody says, I don't know what to do with these. I've got this happening in financial areas and I don't know what to do with it. I'm not going to show you my entire marketing plan. I'm not going to throw the problem I have currently with my business just out to here. It is because that's not the purpose of what we're here for. But also, in all honesty, I don't know Julian quite well enough, nor do I know the other 81 people that came through here to throw out what the problem right now is in the business and rely on you to provide me with the guidance that I need. That's the value of the mastermind. What I'm talking about with the private, what I'm getting here is the positive sharing of the experiences, which are incredible, which is getting my mindset in the proper direction so that I can tackle the issues. And I'm hoping it happens for others as well. Julian, I live as if I'm going to die tomorrow, of course. Sorry.
I love that. Just saying, Julian, I love that.
All I've got right now.
No, I think for me as well, it's the great thing about these sort of platforms, and is for me, I really enjoy social learning. I enjoy the ability to come on and discuss and chat with people about all different types of topics. And I think that, for me, there's never any invented here mentality. So What I know is you could write it on the back of a postage stamp in terms of the whole wide world. So for me to come and sit and listen and talk and debate, I think I have a good entrepreneurial understanding, and I've been fortunate to be quite successful in my field. But when I listen to yourself talking, and I haven't really read this book, and I've listened to the 2 chapters now today, and of course I'm on holidays at the moment. That's sunny Spain behind me. So I'm gonna, once I finish this chat now, I'm gonna go and sit on the chair over there and read and try and play catch up.
Good.
Because I think what you're saying and the thing and the way in which you're saying it is very important. I read a book years ago, and I don't even, it's probably a little bit too spiritual, but the Celestine Prophecy, which was talking about synchronization, and the people who are more open are people who generally are more successful. And I do that with successful, because successful means different things to different people. So success is relative to the person. But for me, it's when you meet people and you're open, then there's an ability to there's a reason I've met you.
Yes.
There's a reason there's a reason you've met me. So if that reason is you can impart some knowledge and some information in the way, obviously you're going to be successful in terms of how you're structured yourself and where your beliefs and values are, then I'm all for sitting and listening to you, and hopefully I can add a little bit of value through values as well. And something you said just before, just a couple of moments ago, for me, I always start with the end in mind, which is obviously very important. And even in everything that I've done, I always say it's a journey, not a destination. For me, you never really get there, because your expectations and everything keep growing. So you just keep working on that journey, and you have checkpoints along the way. But ultimately, the whole thing keeps moving. You have to be dynamic. You have to keep moving, because even the format we're in today, 2 days didn't know this existed. So what I was thinking of doing and how I was going to do it has changed within 2 days. So God knows what's going to happen in 12 months time or even 2 weeks time. So as long as you're malleable and you have the dynamism to be able to change, adapt and listen and learn, I think those people are the ones, hopefully, and I'd like to put myself in that bracket, although I'm very humble, that will be successful. Again, success is relative to how you want it.
Thank you, Julian. Beautifully said.
Just want to jump in there for 1 second, Julian, and tell you that I'm so totally in agreement with you. I believe that you meet everybody for a reason. And I don't know what the reason is that I'm here. I don't even know why I got up this morning. Charlene Burke knows me, and I don't get up. I mean,
you like me, dear.
Yeah, I'm a web developer who's up till 2 o'clock in the morning. So, 8 a.m. for me is next to impossible. But something drove me in here this morning, and I got up, brushed my teeth. You can't smell me, can you? And showed up, and I'm glad I did.
We don't have smell-o-vision yet. Okay, so let me wind this down for the recording, and then we'll have open chat. I can be here for another 30 minutes or so. Keep the chat area open. So thank you. I thank everybody who has joined me on the live stream. That's Sean, Sabrina, Julian, Eric, Don. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
A part of the live stream and a part of the discussion, and everybody who has been in the comment area having your discussions. That's fabulous. Thank you for helping me on my journey. I hope that you are getting some ideas on how you can get your morning moving, right? So to close this out, let us move forward in the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, grow our businesses. So until tomorrow.